when I decided to come back, I had a big talk with one of my trainer, John Denaire, and Firas. They're my two main guys, and they're like my friend, my brother with me. I mean, I'm undefeated with these two guys. You know, they're like, well, I need them when I fight.
That's some serious knowledge between those two men.
And they mix together is crazy. You know, they're two different person, very different. They both have. They both studied philosophy. They're very interesting people for me to talk with because they have two different mentalities. You know, they see the world different ways. So I like to have both of their expertise. And so John, he told me, he said, listen, he said, you always have three big criticizers when you were fighting. Just never went up of a weight class. You never, people say that you're kind of boring, you're too much cerebral, technical, you don't want to take unnecessary risks, which make the fight boring. And also you don't finish your opponent. You know, that was one of my big criticizers. So I decided to come back and we changed the way I was training because the way you train reflects the way you fight. You know, people say, oh, I'm not gonna train too hard. I'm gonna do this in training, but when it's time to fight, I'm gonna step up. There is no step up. You're just gonna do what you did every day. You know, and that's what, so I decided to change a few things and to correct those three things, and that's what happened. You know, I'm happy it worked out well, but that was my goal. I wanted to come back for something that excited me, something that was different, something that was unique and rare. You know, and I didn't want to come back to do the same thing I was doing before. And that's why I decided to come back.
Well, when you came back, first of all, you came back, you fought a very tough guy, right? You fought a big Michael Bisping at 185 pounds. But what was impressive to me is, like, you didn't look like you were gone. Like right away, it felt like you felt right back into the groove again. You didn't look out of place. You didn't look uncomfortable. And you were showing things, especially different things with your kicking and your movement that we hadn't seen from you before. Like it looked like you had improved.
Oh, I was tested in the training. Like even Firas, some of the guys, Firas went to tell them, like he whispered to them, "Hey, if you knocked out George in sparring, I'll give you money," or you know things like that. Yeah, man, it's like he's crazy. Firas is crazy. Firas is my worst enemy in training. Sometimes, you know, he tell people, it's like, hey, if you beat Jay, if you hurt George, I'm gonna glorify you. You know, I'm gonna.
Wow.
I'm gonna talk about you. You know, we're gonna be happy.
That's the opposite of what a lot of people think a training camp should be for a champion.
It depends what kind of. You know, we don't train like this every day. But for my hard sparring, when I'm training for a fight, I have 2 days. For my last training camp, I had 2 days that it was like hard sparring. We called it shoot box fighting, which we put the big gloves, the shin pad, and his feet to floor. Once we touch the floor, we stop and we go back up. And that was the area of expertise where Bisping was the most competent, the striking department. Mm-hmm. He's good on the floor, so I was bringing in a lot of good guys for sparring with me in that particular training. It's hard to find someone that is exactly like the guy you're gonna fight, but you can find a guy that does things better than him in a particular area. You know, I cannot find a replica of Michael Bisping who's complete as much as Michael Bisping, but I can find a guy, for example, I had a guy coming from Spain. His name is Caesar. He's a K1 fighter, and he's a big guy. He's like 205 pounds, and he's big, and he's very, very good kickboxer. So I had him during my training camp. I flew him from Spain. I had a different bunch of guys that I was training with, and all these guys that I was training with, they are not like Michael Bisping, but in a certain area that I was training with them, it could be grappling or shoot box or a different area. They could be just as good or maybe better than Michael Bisping. So that's how I do my training camp.